It's 2025, and you know what that means. Unemployment and misinformation have come together and created a whole soup of mess. I'm sure you've spoken to 1,000,001 people asking, how do I get an interview? How do I get an offer in this crazy job market? And I'm sure you've heard one of the following, which is make sure it's ATS friendly and make sure you over-tailor your resume to every single job description out there. If this sounds like you, this video is for you. You literally need to stop, listen to this video, and whatever else you do at this point forward, it's out of my hands. Like I tried to save you, and if you cannot make these changes, I don't know what I can do anymore. First of all, every single person that I've come across in this job market, especially coaching over 100 women, I've seen thousands of resume versions at this point, and I've worked with hundreds of job seekers entering corporate high-tech industries, and they've all come to me with this same problem. If you feel like you've done everything you needed to and your last resort has become using random templates you see online, putting them through ATS checkers and getting an ATS friendly test score or whatever, and tailoring your resume to every single job that you apply to, spending over an hour just tailoring your resume, filling out cover letters, like if someone in your life or you is doing this right now, you need to stop and listen to me. At this point, you've sent over 100 resumes. If you have not received an interview, or if you have not received an interview at a job that you know you wanted to get in the first place, the ATS and the AI systems are not to blame. And I'll tell you a little bit more why. There are 2 steps to get an interview. The first one is ATS and AI. That's number 1. Number 2 is a recruiter. Everyone's forgetting the recruiter who is actually checking all of the resumes that passed ATS, and they're the ones deciding who do I actually want to call up right now to offer an interview. Remember, these are real life human beings, and they are the ones making the decisions. So if at any point you've been blaming ATS and AI for messing up the entire job market, you need to think again and stop for a second. Look, my clients, me personally, I've been there, done that. Like ATS, AI has been there for a really long time, and I know I was one of them. And I would constantly find myself trying to blame an external factor, but I had to realize it was my fault. So let me take you through. If you've been over-tailoring, like, yes, I mean over-tailoring, not just tailoring, just over-tailoring your resume to every single job description, and your bullet points are now coming across like streamlining operational efficiency by 22% in order to collaborate with stakeholders to make 13% improvements in decision making. Like, if that's what the essence of your bullet points are looking like, and you're applying to engineering, marketing, analytical roles, there's no way that you would be getting an interview. Why? Because unfortunately, the people you get advice from, the people who have been working in tech or corporate for a very long time, and academia, it's designed to keep you there. It's designed to keep you coming back to school and spending more and more of your precious earned money. And unfortunately, with that 3 combined, we have released an entire generation of people who don't have the right direction to best represent themselves on their resumes. So I'm sure that if you have one of these types of bullet points on your resume, there's 1,000,000 more variations of this that you have added that is causing you to get stuck. So if you're like, I've tailored my resume, Nikki, I don't know why I'm not passing ATS or even the recruiter, it's because you are passing ATS. Like, I find it very hard that you would not be passing ATS at this point because you have all of the keywords from the job description. Like, you have stakeholder engagement, operational efficiency, streamlining, X, Y, and Z operations, Tableau, Excel, you have all of that. Like, you're probably passing ATS, but you're not passing the person, which I feel like whenever someone comes to me, they've always mentioned like, I just need it to be seen by a recruiter. I just need to network with someone one time and it will be seen and I will get the offer. Those are the very same people who are rejecting you. And I want you to take into consideration that whatever you're going through, it's your responsibility to fix it. So maybe up until this point, okay, you did not know. Whatever you do after this point, that's up to you. And if you continuously make the same mistakes, that's on you. So for the people who actually want to make a change, keep listening. So if you want your resume to be picked by the recruiter, you have to put yourself in their shoes. They are seeing thousands and thousands of resumes every single day for their millions of different positions they have within their company, especially contract recruiters, because they're working with many clients within their niche area and they have so many things going on. I want you to put yourself in their shoes for just a second. If you see a resume that has that type of language, which by the way, few years ago, it would have gotten you hired, but not anymore. Like, a side note, that's why the people you're talking to and asking for advice who are working in corporate, who have the same years of experience, like, that's why no one knows what's going on, because they got a job most likely with not needing too many details, metrics, results, like, etc., etc. That's another topic. But side note aside, you have to understand and put yourself in the recruiter's shoes that they are seeing the exact same variation of resumes on a daily basis, thousands of times, many days in a row. So you're not going to be able to show that you're different if you are consistently tailoring your resume to every single job description. What's going to happen? Well, you already go into the job description, you already see how vague it is, and they're probably using like some type of ChatGPT variation of different like things to get the job posting out there. And they are looking for someone who has these types of fields of experience, but they're not saying, hey, when we would say tailor your resume to the job description, we don't mean literally copy and paste stakeholder engagement. We mean tell us how you engaged with stakeholders. If they're talking about operational efficiency by using specific tool stacks, talk to us about the number of employees involved that you were able to make an impact with internally, maybe externally, the number of clients, which industries are they in? Like, your bullet points have to be a bit more chunky and more detailed at this point if you want an amazing interview and offer. So now that you understand ATS is not the issue, it's really going to be you and your resume that has to do the fixing. Now comes the question of, well, how do I make sure that my resume gets picked? You are no longer going to tailor your resume ever again after hearing my advice. What you have to do is you have to look at your experiences, what you do on a daily basis, the teams that are involved, the number of different clients involved, the number of types of tools, and actually listing out those tools. Like, you have to do a whole brain dump of clock in, clock out. What do I do in between? You're going to say, okay, I do my little emails, I get my tickets, I customize them in this way. I work with like 5 different cross-functional teams to separate them. I talk to stakeholders in order to organize so-and-so meetings, in order to work with so-and-so people. After you do that brain dump and you compare your resume to your actual brain dump, you're going to notice that whatever you've done was never really represented in the best way in your actual resume. So if you feel like you've applied to a ton of positions and they were great positions, you would have done so well in them, and they weren't even asking for that many years of experience, and you already feel you're overqualified and you did not get the position, go back, look at your resume, and you're going to see that what you do on a daily basis is not reflected in the actual resume. Okay, so the hiring managers and recruiters, like, they are a team. So the recruiter is going to want to pitch you to the hiring manager. They have to give them a reason as to why you should be interviewed and potentially get a job with them. So if they are seeing very similar types of variations and versions of resumes across the board, they're naturally going to go for someone who actually tells them what they need to hear. My clients, the reason why they're able to negotiate an extra 5, 10, 15, 20K in their salaries, and I personally negotiate over 40K, is because I was able to specifically understand my job responsibilities. I made sure my resume was done in the best way one time. I never tailored it again. My clients used to spend hours tailoring their resumes to every single job description. So what happens? Your resume becomes a watered down, diluted thing with random buzzwords that doesn't tell us anything about what you did. So hiring managers and recruiters don't want to guess what you can do on the job. They know as a systems engineer, they know as a marketing analyst, they know as a healthcare coordinator what you have to do. And they understand that if you're applying to a position, you say you have 4 or 5 years of experience, you list out some job responsibilities, how can they know that you know what you know? So they need to see that you know what different tools you have to use on the job. They have to know the different ways to execute the job. They have to understand your specific solutions. They don't want some generic, improving patient care by 2%, 20%. Like, the percentages don't mean anything. Like, they're just percentages. And oftentimes you're probably guessing just to throw a number out there. So at the very end of the day, you have to understand that they want to know what you do on the job, not what the job description does on the job, what you have done on the job and what you're able to bring in. Like, let's say you even have a project and you're still in school, you've done it during your master's even, and you're like, Nikki, how do I write about a project that I feel was so important, but I never got a result. Like, we're going to work on it next semester, or, the semester was over, everyone graduated, like it's done. You should write the intended result. You should write what the next steps would be. But I also want you to remember, not every bullet point will have a result, especially a bigger setting in corporate. Like, you will be one employee and you'll have many employees that you work with, and you are basically passing the baton to the next person to get the job done. So if your actual goal is to deploy a specific tech tool and integrate it and migrate it within like 100,000 employees in your company, you are probably not going to do the deployment part. You are probably going to do like, I don't know, whatever thing you have to do. There's many different steps. Think of what you would have to do, right? Then after you do that thing, the next person would do the next thing, and the person would do the next thing, and you're going to get that approved. The manager will roll it out or hand it out to someone else. Like, you're never going to really see the actual result you bring every single time in corporate. So the project is no different. Therefore, what are the most important parts, you may ask? What you did, how you did, solution, and potentially the result or the intended result. So as a result, if you are looking to get hired, now that you understand what are the different tips and tricks that you have to implement right now to get a job in 2025, you have to stop making excuses for yourself. That's why I said in the beginning, I could only help until this point. And if you're not willing to take this advice and continue doing what you've been doing, then that's fine. Like, all respect to you, that's okay. But if you're actually serious and you want to make sure that you're employable for a very long time and want to see a future beyond your next job, like you want to become a senior, a director, staff level member, like you have to think big. If you finally feel like you're getting some clarity on these biggest misconceptions in this job market, make sure you hit subscribe, like the video, and send over some comments asking some questions that you want to see answered in the future videos. And if you want us to review your resume, book a call with my team. It's linked in the description, and we would be more than happy to share personalized, like live feedback while you're on the call, so you get no BS feedback on what you have to do to be successful in this market. Make sure you follow us on our social media handles, and I'll be back with more videos. Bye!